Hey there, guys. It's Greg T with BNI Alberta South. This is a quick, an overview slash tutorial on how to access your chapter website pages as assigned to you for your chapter, and how to edit them and do some stuff and do a lot of stuff, to be honest with you. Now, this has been something that has been in the making for a while. We've got it now, so everything seems to be all set for permissions and being able to do things. So you're gonna like this. I think this is going to be quite the big change for everybody. So, first of all, the way that it all goes is the communications coordinator for each chapter will be issued the login and the password for their chapter pages. Okay. Now, these can only be accessed by people who have that login information. We ask one thing, that you do not change the email address on the account, as it goes to the chapter communications coordinator. From there, we will, also every term, this will be reset and changed again, just because we often will have new coordinators in place at April 1st and October 1st changeover of leadership. If you maintain and stay on, that's awesome, but we still will be having that change. That's done all on an administrative level, and it's just, to keep things all cool, so that we know that everybody is where they need to be and gets the access they need. If you have any issues or you are unable to get into your website for any reason, please contact admin@bnisalberta.ca, and we'll get that information to you and help best we can, however we can. Now, as far as the tutorial goes here, what I'm going to do is we're going to start with the BNI Vibe access. BNI Vibe, reason being is they were the first ones to say, hey, we want this new page. Can we do it? And that's why we're using them. So what we're going to cover in this tutorial is the overview on what the login looks like, what you access, what it ends up looking like in the back end, and then how to edit things on the page itself. We'll show you quickly in the back end, but we're going to show you the visual builder side, so you understand and see how it works and how easy it can be to manipulate and have some fun with it. That said, we must make sure that we are always maintaining things as far as BNI branding is concerned. Okay, that goes with colors, fonts, all that kind of stuff. There's certain editing abilities that we may have in the back end that we encourage people not to use, such as different fonts and so on and so forth, just to make sure that we are keeping a professional, professional picture and visuals to all of the people who see BNI Alberta South or BNI across the world. Let's face it, we are members of a global organization that has made millions and millions of dollars for its members overall, even during difficult times. Now, it's not that we want to say that everybody does great and everybody's in a perfect position, because sometimes there's struggles, and we understand that. But what we want to do as members and as an organization, as a regional team for you, is to ensure that people understand that they are being connected with someone who is connected to a global market. And that can raise your visibility and credibility huge. And that's our objective. So let's make sure we keep things all nice and solid. If you have any questions, again, reach out to marketing@bnisalberta.ca. We will help you and make sure that things are in place and that things are running the way they should be for you. All right, let's go right into logging in. I'm going to log into the BNI Vibe page, which is already part way through here, and bang. Now, any of you who have had information or experience using WordPress, then you're going to understand and see exactly what's going on here. Yes, this site is built as a WordPress site. Now, we've used a specific builder for doing these things, okay? Now, I'm just going to kind of give everybody an overview, so if you have familiarity with WordPress, some of the initial things may be boring for you, but, I just encourage you to stick on, because we got some cool stuff to show you too. All right, so first of all, here's what's happened. This is your login when you first get there. You'll see that not all the tabs on the side are available if you're familiar with WordPress. The reason is there are certain things that your permissions do not allow you to see or allow you to access. For instance, appearance. There is nothing that you can access there, so no themes or anything. You can't change those. Tools, none. Your profile. Yes, you can go to your profile and change things. Projects, that's something that we may actually remove. At this point, we're not using projects within the back end of our site, so unless you can let me know of a good reason why we do so, we might remove that. Comments are turned off for the entire site, just to, discourage spammers from sending us a lot of spam, or using our forms and our comment section to put in links that we do not want. Media section is available. You can take a look at that. Actually, I'll go in right now, and you can see a bunch of things that are available to you to use. Now, a lot of this is just the media that is simply on the site right now. You can use this here, but you cannot delete any of these things. You don't have the ability to do so. And that is, of course, because a lot of the stuff is being used across the site. Dashboard, that is the front where we are. And of course, your chapter pages and blogs. What's going to happen there is you're going to only have access to your specific chapters, entries, and or pages, if you will. That's it. You will not be able to access any of the other ones. In fact, if we go there, I'll show you right now. All posts there. We take a look. This one only has the About BNI Vibe page, which is the one that we have active here and is attributed to the author BNI Vibe. That's how the access is there. So if it is your chapter that has authored it, you will have access to the page. So let's do a quick overview of the dashboard as you come in, just to make life easy. You can edit these things, okay? And I strongly recommend you do, just for your own access and comfortability as you get into the websites. Here at the top right, you're gonna see screen options. You can click that and we can go in and we can turn off a lot of the stuff that we just don't want to see. You can turn it all off if you want to, which is what I'm gonna do for Vibe here. And you know what? Nothing actually ends up being there for you. You don't have to worry about it. You can see some of the most recent activity. Again, doesn't necessarily mean something you're interested in. That's just pages and blog entries that have been changed. At a glance, lets you know where things are running at this time. Quick drafts. WordPress events and things, which you probably wouldn't be interested in, most people. So ultimately, not much is necessary there. I just turned it all off. That's cool. So let's go into the page and I'll show you how to work with this. All right. I guess incidentally too, I know the pop-up maker here is showing up here, but you are not actually able to do anything here. It says you can add new ones here. I would suggest if you want pop-ups for your page, great, but talk to us about this. This is something that we should confirm and work at with you on that for special notices and stuff. So let's go into, oops, my apologies. So you notice here, I just went into the all just to show them all. And what ends up happening is you see all these different entries that are not accessible to you. This is set up by the original team or the admin team, but this is your page. So let's do it. So I'm going to immediately go to view so we can see what that page looks like. Now, as you can see, this is the whole page. This is what it looks like. Now, I'm going to open up the full BNI Alberta South site here in a new tab, so we can actually show you what this page looks like slightly differently, if you will. And this is why. So this is the BNI Alberta South page. I'm going to go to the let's go to bnivibe.ca and see how that actually plays out, so you can see what the page and everything looks like. There we go. There, BNI, here's your vibe, here's your page. Here's the regular stuff that everybody sees. Sorry, there. Scroll down, this is the normal stuff here, but BNI Vibe has the About BNI Vibe page. What that is the container that goes and formats everything from the page that we're going to show you how to edit and puts that into the entire page for you for the About page. Now, this could be anything from About page to a upcoming speakers page to give more information and advertise those speakers even better. Just had a discussion with another chapter this morning, or this afternoon actually, about that. And this is something that your chapters can use. So let's take a look here what we're going to do. I'm going to go to the Enable Visual Builder. Okay. When we click that, that's going to show us, it's going to open up the ability for us to change and do things within this site as it's built already. You'll see now that this is actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to open this up in the back end too, so we can kind of see how it works back and forth. Here in the back end of the Visual Builder, you're going to notice we have sections, rows, and then modules, okay? And as we scroll down a bit, we have more rows, more modules, pardon me. Another row, more modules, a section, row, and modules again. Now let's look here. Here's our section, the blue. There's our row, and there's our modules within. So we have a section, a row, and a module that looks to be, what, about 2/5, 3/5 with an image and text. We go over here at the top, there's our section, our row with our image and text module. So that's really how this all works and ends up being built, okay? You can pop these things in, kind of interestingly. Now let me show you how easy it is to do, okay? I'm gonna say this section's perfect, but we wanna add another section below here that maybe highlights our upcoming 4 speakers. So I'm gonna click Add New Section, make it a regular section. I'm going to say I want that to be, look at that, 4 columns. So we have 4 columns there, and we can actually insert a whole bunch of stuff here. Now here's all the modules that are available to you. I encourage you to have a look at this thing, at these things here. Okay. Now some of these won't be necessarily made available to you completely, but I'm going to use the blurb one. So this puts us with the settings, if you will, in the back end of the blurb module. Now here's the way we'd like to look at the way that this is set up, so you understand how maybe to kind of work through some of this. Now I can slide this over so we can take a look. You say, okay, so in the settings in the back end of any of the modules, you'll have your content, design, and advanced section. I like to think of those as the beginner, intermediate, and advanced area, right? Beginner section gives you control over some of the basic stuff, such as your title goes here. So we can say, you know, I'm gonna use myself here. So Greg T is gonna be the next speaker here. And here we can say, okay, this is what Greg T does. And we use that information there, okay? And as we go down, we can have the image. Well, let's add a picture here. And as it turns out, yes, in the media library, I do have a picture of myself. So I'm gonna grab that there. And there we are. There's the picture we had of Greg T. And we can do a link. Now we can do a link to their website, which would be something we'd encourage you to do, just because then, you know, you can help promote the members as we, you know, as we should be doing. As communications coordinators, our job is to promote. We're the marketing arm, you know, or we're one of the marketing arm along with our events team. So marketing what our members are doing and they're coming to speak is awesome. So I'd say here, you know, we can put that URL there. I'd say minus HTTPS. Well, there we go. imagestop.com, and we're going to have that open in a new tab. The reason I do that is really simple, and that is that anytime somebody leaves the chapter website, I would encourage you to make sure that they leave and go to a new tab so that when that person closes the tab, they stay on the chapter website and they can find out more about the chapter, the members, and BNI as a whole. So I'm going to actually make the module itself, you know, go that and make that done as well. Now you can add background colors and stuff like that here too. Not necessarily in this case, I'm going to get rid of that. A min label, that's just for the back end that I showed you. So you're able to actually label some of those sections in the back end if you like. Now let's look at the design sense, or our intermediate section. We can do things to actually change how this layout works. You know, don't like that so much, you know, so not great. But there are different things you can do. In this case, I'm going to leave that one there, but we can round the corners of the image. So if this were an image without a white background, we could round those corners. It would just present differently. We can add borders. Change the colors there. And there, if we add the border, you can see how that looks there. It rounds that off really nicely. And that may be a way to, you know, you'd want to use that in some of your some of your advertising as far as how you make this look. We can then maybe even add, you know, a bit of a shadow there, so it lifts it off the page slightly. And we can even color the shadow, which is really, really fun, make it a bit darker. So that's just some examples there on the intermediate side. Let's kind of scroll down too. We're going to get past the the image settings here and go to the text. So text, we can change where it actually, how it sets. We can set it to dark light, which of course is for the helps to work with the backgrounds. I'm going to keep this one the way it is. Well, we can add shadows if needed or desired. In this case, don't think so. Now the title, you know, kind of looking at this and thinking, well, there. So this one's highlighted. We're going to click that and say, I'd like that to be red. And we're going to put that in the center, and we're going to make that bigger so that the person's name stands out just a little bit more. And then down here, we can go to the body text, which is the this is what, and we can change that. You know, we can change that to maybe a light version of the same thing. Semi-bold, bold. Change the alignment. Change the coloring. Would encourage it in this case. I think the default coloring is perfect. And the size too at 18 pixels is really, really nice size. So I'd leave that. But you see how this can be all altered and changed. Now everything from the image width sizing, so we can change that. Content width, same idea. That whole bit. Refresh that. There we go. Reset that. We can go module alignment and change it to, you know, how it sits within that column. Spacing. We can add padding, top and bottom, left, right, and margins. That's something, you know, I'd say play with, but generally speaking, most of these are going to show up the way you'd like to use it. And the border, that's for the entire area, if you will. Okay, that's for this entire section around, not the border of the picture. Okay, remember this is a module, so it's the entire thing. So you can play with that, and as you can see, this is what it would show up like. All right. And go on further, we can say a box shadow, and that is again for the whole box module. And filters, we can play with things and change some of the black and whites and the hues and do a whole bunch of neat things there. In this case, as I said before, I'm just going to reset those and leave it as is, because generally speaking, as is good. Now here you can use some animations if you want it to slide in maybe. Let's say slide in from the right, and that'll come there, and it just draws people's attention to that. Okay. So there's an idea how you can set up blurbs for upcoming speakers. But just say hello to upcoming speakers, that's great. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do a quick duplication, show you how easy it is to do things with this builder. I'm going to open the row settings here instead of the module settings. I'm going to delete those other 4. Okay, you know, say it's huge now, we don't want that. But watch, I can duplicate that. So now we have the exact same settings across the board, okay, for all of the different modules. Now let's just say you decide, well, you know what? I like this. This is perfect as far as the settings are concerned, not because my picture's across. I don't like that part, to be honest with you. Okay, but we want this the person's name to be bold. So let's go in here. I'm going to go into the module settings. I'm going to go into design, go to this here, and I'm going to say, okay, there we go. We're going to change that to ultra bold. That's better. That's what I want. But these ones aren't the same. Well, I don't have to go in and delete them all like we did with this last step. I'm going to go here. I'm going to right click and look, copy module styles. Then I'm going to go to this one. I'm going to right click, paste module styles, and it will go in and paste all the styles for everything that we've just changed there, which is really awesome to do. So if you have changes, there's easy ways of doing it. Now you might look at this and say, you know what, this isn't quite wide enough. I want this to span further on this page. Let's go further into the settings for the row. Go into this part. And remember the sizing and spacing that was in the module? Well, it's also in the row settings. And let's look at this. We can change this to be, I want to use 100% of the available spacing there. So you see what ends up happening. I'm going to save that. You can see here. Now, you know, this is taking up the 100% of what's there, but it's only 80%, sorry, the wrong button there. It's only taking up 80% of that full width, saying the max width is 100%. So I can go like this and increase that right to the full 100% of the page as the settings are made for us. So we can play with that to change how the presentation flows. Now we can even change the gutter width, which is the spacing between the columns. They can touch, which I wouldn't recommend because it looks a little messy. But there, we can change that, get a little bit tighter. And if we have, say, more text on one and another than another, and we want that to just balance properly, we can say equalize the column heights so that any extra text and stuff here, it keeps all the columns the exact same. So if you have some information underneath, it flows better. Again, you know, we can help you with this. What I'd recommend for the first while, or even each time, if you do changes and you're not sure how things are, send us an email, marketing@bnisalberta.ca. Let us know what you're trying to do and we weren't able to do, or let us what your question is. We'll give you the response on how to do what is necessary or help fix it for you. So no big deal. Now here's what I want to do. I want to add a title here that says upcoming speakers. And let's do this. I'm going to add another row. I'm going to get full column this way. We're going to go down to our text module, and we're going to say here, whoops, I'm going to say upcoming speakers. Okay, looks great. Here's what I want to do though. This is not quite what I'm looking for. Let me do something here. Oh, see, you can change where this actually all bounces out to. So I just hadn't done that before. I want to show you. It's kind of cool. Anyway, so as you see the upcoming speakers, that isn't quite the title we're looking for. Well, here's how we edit it. Go back into that module. This is back to the normal. I'm going to highlight that, and we're going to go here, and I'm going to change that to a heading 2. Oh, it's bigger. It's not bad. Well, I want it centered. Okay, well, let's do this. I would encourage you not to use all the alignment tools and stuff here within the builder. This is the old WordPress interface, but I'd encourage you to use the intermediate settings. Because watch this, heading text. We said it was a 2. We go here, we can make this ultra bold, changes that there. We can go in and change the coloring. We can center it. We can say we want it all title. And you notice here too, right, bang, there it goes. And we can continue to say, I want it nice and big. Well, that's good, but you know what? Maybe the red isn't so good. I want it to be this gray instead. Perfect. Now, problem is we don't want this title to be up on the bottom. Again, no problem. Watch this. We just click here in the row. We take that, we drag it up here, and we drop. Literally a WYSIWYG type interface that, with a drag and drop, it ends up balancing really nicely. We can even go as far as changing the background of this area here so that it has a little bit more coloring to it, so it stands out a little bit differently. And say we don't like the spacing here, we can drag the spacing as well. So there's so many things that you can do. Can it get a little out of hand? Yes, it can sometimes, and again, we're here to help, okay? But you see how easy this was to at least create some things to balance this, and now we have a section here on this page that shows upcoming speakers, and I'll add one last step for you. Let's say we've decided, okay, we've got the upcoming speakers, that's great. We want there to be a button so that they can go register. Well, here's the way we do that. We're going to create a new column, or you can do it in a new row for that matter if you wanted to. But I'm going to say I want a button. There's automatically a default for the button. Okay. Now, if you go here to the, I'm not sure if I actually have this here, just to make sure what I'm doing right now is just going to the BNI Vibe site. It's just the back end, so I'm not worried about saving here. Okay, so here's what happens. This link right here at the top for the BNI Vibe site, that there is the link for registration. So I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to go back to here. And I'm going to say register for our next meeting now. Sure. And I might want to make that more title case, in which we have capitals on each of the words here. It's more of a call to action type thing. Encourages people to do things more. That's awesome. So we're going to add the link. It stays on the website in this case because it is going to be part of this whole About BNI Vibe page. So this visit will be there, so we don't have to worry about opening in a new window like I mentioned previously. We go here to the design sections. We go button. We're going to customize this button. Now watch this. Here's where we have a little bit of fun with this one. I want the text to be white. I want the background to be red. I don't want there to be a border. I want the border to be rounded, so we'll go about there, about 42. I think is really good there. You notice here, this is kind of nice there. Yeah, looking pretty good. Not quite what I want here. Let's see. Do I want caps? No, that's yelling at them. I don't want that in this case. Just having fun. Okay, the icon for that. Well, let's use this icon right here. And scroll down a little bit more. Good. Should we add a box shadow to this? This is the text shadow. Notice that. Let's go here. I'm going to add a box shadow so it looks fun there. I'm going to say that's good. One thing I didn't do though, let's go to the bottom. We want this aligned in the center. You know what? Let's do one more thing, and let's just increase the spacing on either side to make this stand out a little bit more this way. Now, you notice I use percentage and not actual pixels, okay? So the reason being is then this will adjust according to whether this is on a mobile device or not, okay? So I'm gonna say, yes, that's good. Now let's take a look at that. I don't want to save this page actually, because I don't want this to be live for the BNI Vibe site, but just see how this will work. Now this will have a mouse over effect, just like some of these can have some too. And if you want, you can even go to these, as I said, okay, copy module styles, and we can go here and we can paste those module styles. So this actually would do the same thing. Now, this one has an icon there that's Facebook. We say, okay, we don't want that, but it pasted the other, so the mouse over effect. Let's go down to that and say, no, I don't want that icon. I do want this one. There we go. And it shows it right there. So I'm going to say only show it on hover. Get rid of that. And that will work that way. Okay, and that is all set there. Now there's a lot of settings in here. If you're inclined to and you want to check out a bunch of things, please do. Enjoy playing with it. If you go into the advanced section, for instance, if you know how to write some, if you can do CSS, go for it. Okay, here's where you put your IDN classes. Here's where you write all your scripting and everything for, what's necessary. As far as attributes, not necessarily something you need to get into, but we don't want to use these. We don't want to use a nofollow. We want this to be indexed. Okay, visibility. Well, here's a neat one. You can create something that only shows up on phone or only shows up on desktop or tablet, which is a nice feature to have. Transitions. We can have this so it eases in, out, does some differences and changes in its transition as you scroll through. Speaking of scrolls, scroll effects. Okay, well, let's enable this. So as I scroll through, this comes through. So instead of just a slide through, it happens as you roll. Kind of neat there. Well, we can change that and say, okay, I'm going to get rid of that one. Here's a neat one for fading in and out. And it can be here, and what's it look like? Fades in, fades, that's really cool. How about we do this instead? We enable this one, and as we scroll there, it enlarges. And that's only on the scroll itself. So many things you can play with. I wouldn't encourage you to go too far and do silly things, like, oh, that's getting a little severe, but do play with it, have a little bit of fun, and use what is basically the culture of your chapter to dictate how far you go with some things. And back to here, you can do some of the basic animation things too, and just make it really simple. Okay, so once you click that check mark, you're out, you're done, those things are set. And lastly, you can go make changes to any of this anytime you want, which is really, really handy. So here, I'm gonna say here, say we don't want this section anymore. I hit that and the whole thing is thrown in the trash, it's gone. And it's that simple. Now, once you are done and you're finished editing everything that you need to edit, the last thing you need to do is make sure you save, okay? So I've gotten out of everything as far as the modules and that. Over here at the bottom right-hand side, you're gonna see the save button. So once you click that save and the check mark shows up again, boom, you're done. Now go to the top where it says Exit Visual Builder, click that, and you're done. That's it. The page will now show up as it's supposed to on, like you say, About BNI Vibe, will go there. There's the page, and there's everything that we would have created and done there, okay? You see here, it does have the mouse over effects that I mentioned there. The reason we have those things there too, it's a gaming, it's a gaming element that people tend to respond to more. So you want to have that kind of things on your website, and a little bit tip for your website itself, that you want things that when people see it, it does something, right? It makes them say, oh, if I click this, something happens. It sounds lame, but it is a marketing process that is it's important to use. So there's all sorts of different modules and stuff in there. I'd encourage you to go take a look at them, see how they might be useful to you and how you can maybe use them for your chapter site. You know what? Play with it a bit, and until you click that save button at the bottom right, nothing ends up going live. So you know what? You can go and create this and have this all set for you and play with it and do all this, and then not save it, and it's okay, but you've learned a lot, and that's the perfect way of doing this. If you have questions, reach out, marketing@bnisalberta.ca. I will do my best to help and do what I can to give you information to help you move along. Some of the things there may be some things that you aren't sure or uneasy enough. Please reach out. And ultimately, this is here for you to work with and help with your chapters to promote, what it is you guys do. Lastly, we can create a page that isn't live that you can go and play with, period. That doesn't actually show up on your website at all, and you can play with that for a while until you're ready, and then we can add it later. The adding of the page to the menu and stuff, that is something that will have to happen on a regional level. So when you're done, let us know. We can get it up there. I think that's it. So I hope you guys got some good information from that and can utilize this. This is going to be fun moving forward. Now we can do things in the background too, and that's something I didn't really mention, that once we get to the final side, and this is where some of your maybe your chapter digital marketing people might have a little bit of fun with, or SEO people, I should say. As we go in here, you are going to have the Yoast SEO plugin available to you, and you can do a bunch of stuff there to play around with how these particular pages do show up when it comes to search engine results. This is a long-term thing, and this has got a lot more ins and outs, but I wanted to cover the basics for you now and just show you that there's a lot moving forward you can do stuff with. So that's it. Greg T with BNI Alberta South, your area director on the marketing side, guys. Thank you so much, and look forward to seeing some amazing pages.